Hello, good evening, and welcome back. It's been a while since we've said that. We are back for the JACKOCAR Kia series. My name is Gareth Hall, your lead commentator, and I welcome you to the first round of the Kia series here in JACKOCAR from Catalonia, Barcelona, Spain. And well, as I sit here in a pretty sweltering warm Oxfordshire in the UK, you have to bear with me at times. I've got a wet towel attached to my back. It's so hot at the moment. But I'm joined by the man that had to be dragged kicking and screaming from the cockpit of his car, claiming, "I'm too fast. I can't ride. I can't. Why do I have to be in cup? I'm so slow." Here we go, Mr. Yuri Haslager, my commentator, joining me this season for the rest of the season.
That is my cue.
Well, that's up to you. I mean,
sorry.
I can continue to slander you if you like.
I've done this one before, but that was Jacko. That was like all amateuristic stuff. This is professional, and now I'm really.
Yeah, well, I mean that's what you're going to get, really. I mean, I mean, by adding you, we've really dumbed down this season. Like we've set a low bar, and we'll see if we even reach that. As you join us for qualifying, Yuri, and out on circuit we've got Mr. Victor Souza Vitinho, who is making his way around the circuit in around about 3 frames a second. He of course is joining us from South America, the Brazilian driver, and well. What are you expecting from this season? Well, let's go down through the grid as they go around and start their final laps. Of course, it's a one-shot quali, just for everyone that's new here to JCar. Everyone will get 1 out lap, 1 flying lap, 1 in lap. That is all they're allowed to do during qualifying, and it will be set from the points from last season. Victor Souza will kick us off. Why don't you start away, Yuri?
Right then, this is indeed Victor's lap then as he crosses the line and starts his lap, the first lap of the new season, as he goes in towards turn 1. Right, turn 3 then, flat out if you're doing this on a good lap, which he does, that shouldn't be too problem. Then end of sector 1, 21.7. I have absolutely no idea whether that's any good or not. That's not good at least. So turn 5, yeah, nice and tidy. Into the fastest corner, well, at least a challenging corner there, turn 6, turn 7 now, turn 8. Here's the DRS detection zone, flat out. Oh, invalidated.
Maybe not flat out
as well.
Yeah,
not even flat, no. I'm massively disappointed by the guy who promised to be so good in season 2 or 3 or something.
As we've got, who else have we got on starting a lap? We've got a couple of cars out there as well. So we'll keep talking about Victor as he, of course, will have to complete his lap. Just about keeps in the straight line. I mean, that car is lagging, well, basically to the moon and back at the moment. So he does complete his lap. So he will be starting at the back of the grid. And well, you did ask for them. I did say I'd try and bring them back if I could. We're going driver profiles, aren't we? We're going to see what we get from these guys. We'll get to Paul McGuinness in a second, don't worry. But Victor Souza, just to say, he's spent actually the last 3 months redesigning Formula One cars' front wings. After going through 14,832 last season, he decided to reinforce them with steel and concrete, and that's the best way to preserve them. We'll see if that makes any difference. Of course, he's got to keep it on the track to keep them pointing in the right direction. Paul McGuinness rejoining JACKOCAR. Yuri, I'm guessing, a racer that you've been here since as you've raced here for a millennia. So tell us a little bit more about Paul.
A millennia? You sure you're not confusing me with Matt Rosamond?
He's older than that.
Wow. You're not wrong. No, Paul McGuinness, Cup Series race winner. I think up to date still the most controversial race winner, which I don't mind at all. I love that race, especially the way it went down. He was 3/10 off in sector 1, and now we have the first time with 51.4. As for the sector 2, which again I have no idea whether that's good or not, because this is the first time we've been there. Will he downshift or just lift off for the final corner? A little lift for the final corner, and this is our first time then at 13 flat.
Paul McGuinness, who is actually more go-kart than man. He had his feet surgically replaced with a throttle and a brake pedal. When he walks forward, he has to tread very lightly as the throttle throws him forward and the brake pushes him back. So every right step he goes forward about 2 inches, and every left step he comes to a halt. So it actually takes him quite a while to get anywhere, but gets himself currently provisionally onto pole position, a 13 flat. What can one of the new drivers this season? This is Scott Hayes joining us as he goes into P2 with a 13.774. Scott Hayes, who's actually under the protection of Jack Ricketts, the league owner. Of course, Jacko, he pays him a nominal fee of £300 per race, and Jacko will disappear anyone that comes into contact with Scott. Here we go. Here we go indeed. Mr. Langston, he's back. Somehow found his way back onto the grid. Who on earth let him in? No one knows. And did you know, Yuri, that as Kaya's making his way around the circuit, that Kaya is the reason, the real reason why Elon Musk threatened to limit DMs on Twitter was that Kaya had actually started DMing him relentlessly, just would not leave him alone. He'd heard that Elon was setting up an esports team, and Kaya, who was seemingly making it his mission to get into contact with every single person that owns an esports team, and he thought he was recruiting. Unsuccessful so far. He's apparently in IRT. But of course, there's, I'm sure, a spot for him in Team Speed. He comes up to the line. It is a 1:15.511. Over to Fozzie. So Fozzie Bear, who is another one of our new drivers. This is Dustin Rolko. Dustin, who joins us as for his rookie campaign this time around. And he's actually an AI-generated name. He uses it on JACKOCAR entry list. His real name is Herman van Doom. It's a bit threatening when he was applying, so he changed it to Dustin Rolko. He's making his way around the second sector now into the third sector, and with just a few corners left to go. Of course, this reprofiled Spanish Grand Prix circuit, he gets a big lift through the penultimate corner. He's going to have to go for another one. He's missed the apex a little bit. He's going to use the runoff area up to the line. It's going to be a mid-13. It's a high 13, 13.980. Who's on track next, Yuri?
It's Harry who is next. And seeing as I don't know him well enough to do a driver profile, I'll just gonna talk really shitty about his lap.
That sounds
like that apex, for example.
I'll go. In fact, I'll set T-Cam so it puts even more pressure on him.
Yeah, I am. So he kept it in the lines. That's something Paul McGuinness couldn't do. Or sorry, not Paul. That was who was it that started us off? I don't remember. I'm so shit at this.
Vitinho. Oh, that's
Vitinho.
Okay.
Well, better than Vitinho, Harry. Good job, man.
Do you know Harry actually? He was told he had to supply a photo. Of course, everyone supplied a photo for this season. He was the only one to wear a suit for his photo. But weirdly, he also recorded a Lonely Hearts video message that accompanied it to Jacko, and it's going on the Discord in the new Jacko Dates section. I think he doesn't really need to worry about anyone apart from Matt Davis. I've heard that Davis is a little bit prolific when it comes to dating sections. A bit on that later on. Next out on the circuit, we've got Thomas Nevitt. And Thomas, who's joining us for another campaign here, he's gutted there's no Australia. We took it off for a reason, is that it was the only race that he could do any good at. But what can Thomas do? He was actually hospitalised. This is real, actually. He was actually hospitalised earlier today, regurgitating a red liquid whilst at work. He asked the doctors what the fluid was, and they explained it wasn't blood. He just drunk 6 red slushies that morning, and he was coming down from a sugar high. So Thomas back in the cockpit, making his way around the third sector now. He's going to look to have a somewhat decent opening. He's got that weird kink where he likes to kind of demean himself in the chat and say how bad he is. What can he do with this quality lap? Because it's looking all right at the moment. It's a 13.7, and that's put him provisionally into P4 with your man Rico now out on circuit, Yuri.
Indeed he is. According to the map, he's purple in sector 1, so we all know this is going to be an absolutely amazing lap from the Dutchman. Did you know that Rico is a big fan of fishing? He does this very often with a buddy of his, where they set out to fish in a 150 square feet pond with 500 fish in it. And after a 3-hour wait, the only thing Rico caught, up until this day, is Jacko's diffuser and rear wing.
I was going to hope you said something like gonorrhea. But
nah, we're going to ease into this.
Oh, okay, that's fine. I'm sure Rico will appreciate that. I've got another one about Rico, but I'll leave that for next week because it's a little bit more offensive than what you've just said.
Right then.
Rico,
Final corner.
who is famed for his overtaking, it goes provisionally P2, which I'm sure he'll be relatively happy about.
It's not bad at all.
No, it's not. I'm sure we'll be pretty happy with that.
This is your guy.
Oh, yes, it is. It's my number one fan, and of course the man that has helped me to no end in the Cup Series. Here is Wastecuber, and actually the inventor of the phrase "eyes in the back of my head" that school teachers have used so frequently. He actually proved that this might be biologically correct, as it would be the only reason that he was looking behind him while starting last on the grid in Saudi Arabia last season. But what can Waze do? Of course, he's been sweating the game over the last few weeks. He's actually made a couple of Cup appearances, and he's been a bit of a quality merchant. He finds himself falling down through the field a la Danny Quinn when it comes to the race. But what can Waze do? It's going to be provisionally pole. It's going to be a 12.790. That takes him 0.3 of a second faster exactly than Mr. McGuinness, and leaving us with Robin Border, who is currently spinning out on circuit. With flair as well. Lovely. That's stuff from the German as he comes up to the final corner, kicking the rear end out. I'm sure that's going to make his time really quick. It's an 18.4 for Rageman, and I'm sure we'll get maybe a little bit more from Matt Shepherd, who you raced a course last season, Yuri.
Yeah, great guy to race against. Very nice, very clean, but I hope he gets his elbows out a bit more. Like a bit more like China last season, I guess. He could have won that one if he just, shoved a certain someone well wide in the hairpin, which he didn't do.
No.
Still disappointed till that day.
He didn't. I actually have got here, just to kind of to build on that narrative you're saying there, he's actually spent a total of £14 million on research over the past 5 months to make a human invisible, because it seems that he's almost totally disappeared after coming in second Quinn last season in China after losing it on the last lap. So what can Shep do? The man that should be in a Championship 5. Has he got the bottle to do it? Not if you lift that much, you're not. Up to the line, it's a 14 flat for Shep. He currently drops into P8 on circuit. Now down to Jessica Ball, the lass from Plymouth. What can she do as she makes her way up the hill through the blind right-hander? And Jess, who is actually under federal investigation after winning a prize in the One Hub giveaway over Christmas. There's been rumours for a while that One Hub was actually set up for money laundering, and Jess has been a centre of a scandal that will soon see One Hub moved from Sundays to Tuesdays so that they can silence the JACKOCAR investigators that are currently looking into their business dealings. But what can Jess do? Big lift through the final corner, but it looks like it's a pretty handy lap. It's a 13.5. That currently puts her onto the second row of the grid, P4. Baz are out on circuit, Yuri.
Yeah, Baz is out on circuit. He's in sector 2, about to finish, about to go through turn 9, seeing whether he'll go flat, which he doesn't. Did you know that Buzza once made it to the C5 in a must-win scenario by paying off 2 of the drivers who were already in? The total sum of this bribe was 3 beers, 4 Kit Kats and a shandy. It's rumored to this day that this payment is still due. Shady business. Yeah,
that's what I think is what you get from Welshmen. As I've actually got it there that he is the person underneath Cyril the Swan, the mascot of Swansea City FC. He got the job after officials found him half naked in one of the hot tubs at the training ground after a heavy night out in the South Wales. In 2017, he goes P3. And, well, let's go on board with Mr. League owner himself, Yuri. Jacko 10509. What's he got for us?
Oh, clearly, if people in One-Up can favourite their own, people in JACKOCAR should do that as well. But till this day, even with all the favoritism in the world, he still only managed one gifted, may I add, race win. It's beyond disappointed from Jacko. Gotta say, as he goes into the final corners, will Jacko lift? Big lift for the final corner. It's okay. Where will this see him end up on? Pole position.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
By 0.3 of a second. He said he was. Yeah, he told me earlier, guys, I'm slow at this game. I've not got up to speed yet.
I heard that.
Lying. He's been sweating clearly. So
absolutely.
Matt Lester. Well, what have we got for Lester? I've actually got written down here. Who's Matt Lester? Has he raced here before? There are no notes to say he has. I don't recognise the name or any accomplishments. but anyone in the comments is welcome to add anything of note that he's done here over the last season. So Leslie the Twig, what can he do in this second and a half season? I think he joined halfway through season 5 or whatever. We're on 7. We're on 7 now. It must have been season 5. He definitely did the full season last season, apart from missing a couple of key races that meant he missed out on some pretty decent points that could have possibly got him the overall regular season championship. He did make it to the championship 5, however, all fell apart. And so did that quali lap as he starts P12 currently. And it is one of the speed drivers now on circuit. We have got Matt Rosemond circulating in a very flamboyantly bright coloured car.
I like it. Maybe I'm biased, but I like it. It's turn 9 was a little bit... but then again, so, he's a little bit older. You've mentioned it on many occasions in the past. But you forgot to mention his egoism. Because Matt is so old, he lived at the time that Atlantis would have been or would have not been a thing. But he claims to know the truth, but he just refuses to tell on whether it actually exists or not. That's a decent lap though from Matt, who puts himself on P4.
Yeah, one to dabble in conspiracy theories and clearly holding one of his own that he knows the truth to. But, we've now got RDR Quinn. Not quite anymore. What happened to that? Well, Casper's already been on it and changed his username. Mr. Quinn not ready to let go of the Welsh team that folded earlier on today. But what can Quinn do? The man that is coming in as you've got to think the favourite for this season. He thinks he's going to walk it. He plays the game pretty much every day, and he's making his way around the circuit now. And Quinn, who is really got some work to do because he's going to come up to the line. He's got to beat Jacko's 12.4. How quick's going to be? It's a 12.8. Only puts himself into P3 behind Waste, but of course a bit of a toe down to turn 1 as of course a KK who dropped out of qualifying will not be qualifying, and the man that may be rivaling the likes of Quinn for the championship is going to be starting from 17th position as OKK, who was actually recorded saying for flip's sake over 27,000 times over the previous 2 Cup Series campaigns, makes a full-time move to Kia to rebuild his confidence whilst leaving the rest of his ART loser friends to crash into each other in the Cup Series on Thursdays. That ends qualifying for us, Uni. Any surprise results for you?
Looking through this list, surprises, it's just a general surprise that Waze is here. You would have thought he was going for the shops, but whatever. But in all fairness, he might just do that between quali and race, so...
I mean, he barely knows where he is at the best of times.
He knows it very well. He's in your rear.
Yeah, that's true. He's always in my head. I'd like to quick shout out to, I think it's probably one of his better qualifying results that wasn't in the wet, that I'm pretty sure gifted him a debut pole position, but Rico in 7th position, still 1.1 off of pole position, so still relatively trash, but at least in the top 10, so Rico doing a decent job there, as we've got, there we go, unable to advance, so we're going to actually have time to go through the fact that Jacko takes pole position for the first time ever, I believe, here in the Kia series. Waste in P2, Quinn in P3, Paul McGuinness reappearing in the second row of the grid, P4, Matt Rosemond, Barry Baldwin, Rico Beckencap, Just Ball, Harry Collier, and of course you have Scott Hayes, Thomas Nevitt, Dustin Rolko, Matt Shepherd, Matt Lester, Kyle Langston, Robin Border, Michael Okeke and Victor Souza are your 2 that round out the grid. Of course, we are missing both Isaac Edimer and Matt Davis. They will be reappearing. Don't worry, Davis. I've got plenty of driver profiles lined up just for you. And I'm sure Yuri has got a couple that he's looking forward to for Isaac as well, because of course they've got on swimmingly on circuit over the past couple of seasons, as we now load into the race. Blue skies relatively here in Spain, and just to talk you through what will be happening for those that are new, those that may be joining JACKOCAR for the first time and thinking what on earth is happening, why the commentator being so mean, Well, that's a good question. We haven't yet answered that one. But when it turns out to the race, it's a mandatory 2-stop for every car. However, once per season, you are allowed a Joker race. So that is where you're allowed to make only one mandatory stop. So they will be probably doing maybe a stint on the hard tyres, perhaps trying to stretch out a stint on the mediums. So we will be seeing 4 Joker drivers tonight, which is actually almost 25% the entire grid blowing their load on race 1. So you've got Matt Lester, Matt Roseman, Victor Souza and Robin Border all taking their Jokers around this 14 corner 4.65 kilometre circuit, which is actually only the second time it's ever appeared in Kia. Back in season 1, race 2, it was won by Mike Kelterborn, otherwise known as MK Bourne. Of course, last season's winner in Canada in the Cup Series. So this is the first appearance in Spain since the 12th of February 2020. So, well over 3 years ago, Yuri?
Yes, indeed. It's quite surprising, but other than that, it's also quite refreshing to not have this track on every calendar, on every league, on every season. So, it's used for pre-season, it's used for at least 5 times a season in every league that I know of. So it's good that we don't have it on the track, on the calendar. By the way, completing that podium you mentioned was Easty and Victor. The pole position was by Make, who also led 30 laps of that race. The winning strategy that day was a 2-stop on lap 8 and lap 21.
As we get ready for the formation lap to kick off the season. And, let's see what we got in terms of tyres. So Jacko has gone for the mediums to start with. Softs for Wace, Danny Quinn and Paul McGuinness. Mediums, Matt Roseman on his Joker. Bazza as well on the mediums. Softs all the way down to Matt Shepard on the mediums. Matt Lester has gone as, of course, we've already got 2 people running into each other before we've even got to turn 1. We've got Lesty on the mediums, Lesty on the softs, Car on the softs, mediums Ron Border, mediums Michael O'Kake and softs for Vitinhos. Jacko goes for a spin already, and we've not even got started. That's how you light the tyres up. Give that man a penalty as he almost gets at beach trying to recover, and he's now found himself probably in a position that more reflects his pace as he's kind of trying to send it down the inside and get some overtaking practice around this formation lap as Jacko's just dirtying up the tyres at the moment. There's no reason for you to need to get back to the front, Jacko. Take your time. The tyre wear does literally count on the formation lap, so the more you gun it, and the more you're going to take out your tyres. But he doesn't. He wants to set a marker. He's back to the front after that slightly embarrassing spin. But I'm sure you've seen Jacko put out his rankings, his predicted rankings. He's got OKK at 1, Danny Quinn at 2, Wace at 3, Matt Lester at 4. He's put himself in P5. The man that, of course, got to the Championship 5 last season in mysterious circumstances. We've got him P5, Isaac in P6, Matt Roseman P7, Matt Shepard P8, Robin and Jess rounding out the top 10 ranked for potential as they make their way past the stricken cars of Scott Hayes and Thomas Nevitt. Everyone filtering into position. Jacko tried to point his car towards Waze and he completely ballsed it up, and he's now found himself sitting about 2 feet behind his box and into the final qualifying position. Qualifying slot is the man who was lagging continuously. He's now just about found it, and we're getting ready to kick off the first race of the season here for the JACKOCAR Kia Series. We've got lights somewhere, they're not on the screen, but we're out and underway here in JACKOCAR. Down towards the first corner. It looks like it's a good start for Wace, who's got down the inside of Jacko, who's had a bit of a poor start. Quinn is going to try and go around the outside of the pair of them, and he's going to sweep around Jacko, who's already down into third position. Vitinho has somehow pinged his way up into P1, but that's not the case. We've got a car around. That is Scott Hayes that's gone around. Kaya rejoins. Apparently he's out, and we are already under a virtual safety car.
Yeah, it was Scott on the inside of I don't know exactly who it was, but they came together on turn 1. Scott on the inside, and he got flipped around by this amazing contact model, the one you so love. First virtual safety car on lap 1. This is proper Kia Series standards.
First virtual safety car, but the safety car is actually driving out. But I don't know if you've noticed, but there is a safety car going its way round turn 3 now. That. Yes, we're under VSC, so I'm not quite sure if Bert Mylander's just decided to join the race. He's probably quicker than half the grid anyway. So we'll see if he catches up. I would like to see if this goes green again. And there we go. Right, we have now gone safety car. So the safety car is out for absolutely no reason whatsoever. It is Waste leading from Quinn. Ignore the fact that it says on screen that Vitinho is leading. He is not. He is, unless he started about 10 seconds before everyone else, you'll see that he is currently pinging around in the midfield. I'm sure this is really, really helpful to drive against. Behind him, I think that is the completely untouched skin of Kaya, who's decided not to design a livery, so pretty sure that's a penalty. He's just gone for the default. So Kaya is going to sit behind Vitinho. Safety car out. So that is the first one of the season, and it took us 4 corners, Yuri.
A little less if you count that VSC being called. So you're going to note them down this time, or you're going to spend an entire weekend counting them all back?
No, I'll do it later because I hate my life. I make myself rewatch all of this garbage to bring you somewhat of an interesting stat panel when it gets to the C5, which will be later on this. Is it? No, it will be early next year, won't it? I'm trying to think of the dates. It will be. Is it this year? It must be this year. Yeah, it's still this year. Yes. So, and of course, it's a fantastic calendar. There's no other reason apart from the fact that you and I designed it. The postseason is going to be the best postseason that we've ever had. These guys, of course, all running simulation damage. So any contact will give you anything from front wing, rear wing, diffuser, side pod, floor, tyre, anything else. Mental heartbreak, emotional breakdowns, all sorts will come from some damage around here. Spain is a circuit that we can see a couple of crashes at. Mostly you'll see it as they go up the hill towards turn 9, but I'm not expecting too many people to be retiring from this one. I will, however, though, be holding my breath as into the box comes Kaya. Don't know why, but into the box comes Kaya. Under the safety car, you're not allowed to pit. This does not count as a mandatory unless he's hit the wall or hit someone else. Is it a new front wing change? Why is his pit crew in bright blue but he's in black? Don't know. And we've got that lovely visual glitch where he sits in the pit lane and then pings out to the end. But Kaya onto a set of hard tyres. He's still going to have to do 2 mandatory stops. Don't worry. That is not one of his mandatories. So Kaya just making it even harder for himself. He's going to put himself on the slowest compound tyre at the back of the grid with 2 mandatory stops left to do. GG's Kaya. Yuri. Wace, good start from him, leading the race. Quinn behind. Jacko, shocker. What happens?
Jacko's going to bottle it, of course. He always bottles it. Interesting strategy from Jacko, though, because as previously stated, he's the owner of the league. He creates the rule package. He has a final say in everything he does. And he knows that's on lap 3, usually, the pit window opens and you can get rid of the first set of tires and cover any safety car trap off. Now, of course, if the safety car comes in this lap, it'll open on lap 4. But why would you start on the mediums then? It's a huge risk you're taking.
Yep, absolutely. So we've got a heap of the Cup guys in the chat. Let us know who's winning this one. Is Jacko going to completely shift himself out of a race win? Started on pole position, already finds himself down in P3, with Quinn and Wace on the soft rubber, so they should get a good restart here. Wace, of course, will have to wait until the restart zone, which will be just underneath the advertising hoarding on the main straight, and Quinn almost runs straight into the back of him, and then everyone accordions up and almost runs into the back of each other again. Something that we've already seen in Cup. Will we get it in Kia? Waiting. Quinn Wace can go any time from now, and off he goes. It's a good restart from Wace there. He's kind of caught Quinn a little bit cold. Jacko is just about 3/4 tenths, so it's evenly split down through the field. You can see a bit more bunching up as they're starting to go side by side. Is all out of shape because Vitinho down the inside of Jess, so he's throwing down the inside as all the positions hold firm, apart from Matt Shepherd, who's decided to take the Joker corner, and he is dropping down a couple of positions. And we've lost Thomas Nevitt. It looks like he has gone round at turn 3, or the entry to turn 3, as cars are scattering now as they try to filter and find their way into position. We have Vitinho, who's made his way up there into P11, so it's a mega restart from Brazilian. Who knows if he's there or not, will be yet to be seen. But you got behind him Matt Lester is having an absolute shocker at the moment, down in P13, the man that made the C5 last season, currently sitting behind Jess, and really needs to clear some of these guys as soon as possible, because the guys on the mediums are
for the lead.
And he does.
Quinn takes the lead.
Yes,
does runs a little bit wide,
yeah,
and that allows Waze to get back on him.
Okay.
That turn 1 incident, by the way, was Thomas Nevitt going in way too deep, making it 3 wide, where that was never possible, and then pushing out 2 cars, if I saw that correctly. It's Quinn Pitts.
Yep. So, of course, lap 3, you can make your first pit stop. And these guys are able to come in now. So Jess and Quinn, the only ones that elect to. And of course, they maybe some of the ones that can remember the rules a little bit better from the watching Cup and being part of Cup. Of course, Quinn, who is not shut up about his start in Imola last season in Cup, that he managed to overtake a heap of cars that were spinning and crashing each other at turn 2. But Jacko now up to P2, of course, promoted from Quinn. Paul McGuinness now up. He's sitting right behind Jacko. Wace has already broken a 1.6 gap, so solid run from him. Dustin Rocco, good start as well, up to P7. He's sitting behind Rico. What can Rico do? Currently sitting in P6. He's got Dustin sitting right behind him. Rico hugging the apex of the 2 chicane corners here. Up the hill, through the blind right-hander, and Rico is going to miss that apex by about 40 feet. And that's going to open the door for Dustin, if he wants to throw it down the inside. No, he thinks better of it, as there's an apex in there somewhere, Rico, as we are making our way up the hill towards the right-hander to end the lap. 2 corners left to go around the outside. This would be a bold move from Dustin if he can get this one done. He's decided better against it, but the pair of them still fighting ways. Into the box comes Paul McGuinness.
Yep, Paul McGuinness saw that Quinn went in and decided to cover that off as soon as possible, which is smart as you can be, as Robin puts a move on Harry. And who is that? Leslie had a look as well. No, Leslie's way back. It's all going so quick. Your job is hard, man.
There's a double overtake done for both Dustin and Matt Shepherd on Rico, who's now being swarmed from all corners as Vitinho's gone around the outside of him. Rageman's trying to go down the inside of him. Rico is feeling like he's having a long weekend in Amsterdam here as he sends it back down the inside of Victor Souza, gets the position back, and finally gets his elbows out. He's been told off quite a few times in VSL so far this season for his overtaking, but there he actually managed to get it done without absolutely body checking a car around him. But you've now got Rageman trying to squeeze his way past Rico on the button as well. Is he going to throw it down the inside? This is going to be a bold move. He does. There is just about width for 2 cars as they're going to go up the hill, and around the outside goes Robin. Rico's going to hold the inside line, but it is Robin that gets the position, and he's lost the wall. Straight into the wall, just kisses it, and I think he's got away with any damage there, but lost the back end, and he's now dropped 3 positions. Lucky to keep hold of all 4 tyres on that one.
Lucky indeed. As we run into turn 1, Matt had a look on Baza but couldn't get by. We have some more pitters trying to cover off those who already pitted before, as it's now Baza up till 2nd, Matt up till 3rd, and Matt Shepherd up till 4th. But for how long? Because Dustin looks pretty quick on those softs, as he has a look on the inside, turning outside now, and decides to hold back.
Now we know that, of course, a number of these drivers on their jokers, as we've got Kaya that's gone for a spin. He's currently sitting in the gravel and is crawling his way back out on the circuit, and he's going to, please do not stop. Do not stop. We've gone through this, Kaya. Do not stop. It will bring out VSCs and safety cars. Anyway, Kaya drops down. Dustin Rocco, as you say, good positions made from him at the start of this one. Have you noticed Dustin's sort of icon is like the Among Us character?
Yeah. He probably thinks it's a racing helmet, but that looks hella sus.
You did? I see what you did. He's a funny guy, ladies and gentlemen. Bazza, now 0.3 of a second behind Newgarden. Newgarden made up to P2, so he's made a position up on Bazza. So Newgarden on his Joker is making moves. So, I mean, you've known Matt for a while. You do a lot of practice with him. He's of course a big fan of Australia. How was he feeling with Spain as his Joker?
I mean, I think the reason he chose Australia was because Spain wasn't on the track. I've always said that only sickos love Spain. There's nothing special about this track. It's been overused, and then there's a handful of people who say Spain is my favorite track. Well, Matt's one of them, and you can clearly see why.
That's a weird way of saying Zandvoort. But of course, that's a track that will be appearing later on in the season. I wonder if you can guess who chose that one for the calendar. As Dustin's still sitting behind Matt Shepherd as they make their way around the penultimate corner that has been reprofiled and looks much better, back to the variant that we saw back in the 90s, where of course it just has the double right-handing sweeping corner, setting you up for the DRS down the main straight, getting rid of probably one of my least favourite chicanes on previous games, that one in Spain. And well, still unable to get the move done. Matt Shepherd holding him at bay, and the soft tyres perhaps starting to go away as Matt... I say that as I...
Wade's going for a move on Quinn for the net race lead into turn 1. He's got it done, and Paul McGuinness is right on this as well, on the softer tyre. So this is going to be one hell of an interesting race at the end of it. Yeah,
as you say, these three, the net race leaders, as we were focusing on the guys in front, we should be focusing on these guys as well. You're going to have to bear with me. I haven't used the spectator mode since the Championship 5, so I'm going to be a bit rusty of where to look and what to do. As we've got, as you say, Paul McGuinness deciding to go for a set of soft tyres, so he has to really clear these guys sooner rather than later. And with race now clearing Quinn, the man that should be winning this championship, as we've got a yellow flag for, I believe that is for Scott Hayes, that's gone around. Oh, it is. It's for Newgarden that's gone around. So 2 cars that were speed blue, and Newgarden is going to have to watch out because his tyres will still be hot. He's going to sit right behind Matt Lester, and he's going to just go straight back past him with DRS down the main straight. And equally, Harry Collier getting some moves done, and he's got a double move up into P6. So good move there from Harry, as Matt Roseman gives him a little bit of a kiss going into turn 1. Wace, Quinn and Paul McGuinness still fighting their way around the first 2 corners as well, as Matt Lester and Matt Rosemond are still fighting away over position, and what they're doing now is starting to fall into the clutches of these net race leaders that are in their own 3-way battle and are about to approach another 3-way battle, but tyres that are much older on the cars in front that will be much slower.
Yeah, this is gonna play really into the hands of, I think, Quinn here in the first part. But then again, if Waze gets by really quick, then Quinn has to counter as well. So it's going to be interesting to look at this. Also interesting is that the league owner is now slowly creating a bigger gap.
Sorry, that was so unfortunate.
Matt's around again.
We've got Newgarden's gone around. Quinn was going for a move on Waze, had lined him up perfectly. And unfortunately, the guys in front have just had their own separate incident, and Quinn has just driven straight into him and has front wing damage. And apologies for my laughter, but that was just... sometimes you get your way around the incidents and sometimes you don't. And Danny Quinn, unfortunately, 1 week it works for him and 1 week it doesn't. He's now into the box. He'll be making his second mandatory. It'll be surely a set of hard tyres to go to the end for him now. As that this does force...
not his second mandatory.
No, it's...
The pit window hasn't opened yet.
Yes, you're quite right. It's true. It's what's that? Lap 16?
17 is 17. Opening.
That is another rule we'll have to talk through a little bit later on as well, because, of course, we've got the stages that we never found out what the stages were.
8 and 16.
There we go. So we've had one stage winner. The next stage winner coming up in about 5 laps' time. So that will be around about 10 minutes' time, as Matt Lester still chasing down Matt Rosemond, who had that spin. So these guys still fighting over position, but more kind of just standing at arm's length and just batting each other's wrists away. But Jess now behind Matt Shepherd as well. She's closing in on Shep, and she's equally bringing Rico, who's pitted for the mediums, but Matt Shepherd on brand new soft tyres. Should be able to scamper away from Jess, even though she may just about hold on to DRS if she can hold on to this the next 2 corners or so within a second. As I say that, she drops out of that second window, so that should allow Matt Shepherd to break away and probably quite comfortably close up to Dustin Rolko in P9, who's on the hard tyres, trying to run as long as he can, as Matt Lester does get past Matt Rosemond into turn 1 with DRS assistance. Lap 12 of 33, so we're only just over a third of the way through this one.
Yep, we are indeed, and it's Paul who, I guess, in that shenanigans into turn 10, made his way around Waze. He had a little bit of a gap, but Waze is now slowly catching that up again. And as we mentioned earlier, that was the battle for the net lead. It's of course not, because Fintinho. Oh well, that was to be expected. That was Fintinho who is in the net lead, of course.
How has he crashed there? It's not even on the corner. It's not even on the corner. How? I can't do this. Did you know it's one of life's biggest regrets is that Kaya never sends in his POVs as a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car, as a baptism of fire there for Scott Hayes. I keep on saying Scott Henderson because he's a Barton player. Yes, so safety car out for a man that drove into a wall on a straight. So Kaya retires from this one. Get ready for the next 12 weeks. Into the box comes Jacko, comes Bazza, comes Lesty, comes Newgarden. They're all surely going to go on to a set of soft tyres to get them through to the next step of their stint, perhaps. We'll have to double check to see. Is it mediums for Lesty? It is hards for Matt Rosemond. So he's making his one mandatory stop. Hard tyres to the end from here.
Yeah.
Will be tricky, but doable.
Yeah.
As safety car is out. Thomas Nevitt is going to try and get around the outside, but doesn't quite beat Lesty to the end of the pit lane.
It's more interesting to see Lesty's tyre choice, because this is his hopefully one and only mandatory stop. And
yes.
Those mediums to the end, 20 laps?
Sure. I hope his tyre pressures are low.
Yeah. I bloody hope so, because, geez, that's a long way to go.
Yeah, maybe, I mean, talk nicely to them, whisper to them. Sure. Matt Lester, who has decided to go aggressive on strategy.
Yeah,
and,
but I bloody hope he's as good as Scott Dixon.
Yes, that's what he's going to need to do.
Yeah.
He's going to need to channel his inner Dixon to get to the end of this one. And Dixon, of course, who is often represented by Matt Shepherd's livery. He's gone for the PNC Bank colours once again, the orange and the electric blue. And Scott Dixon, who, of course, is going to finish P2 in the overall standings in the IndyCar, most likely once they get past the last race. As yes, I know, unfortunately, we've had to live through another Alex Palou championship win over in IndyCar. We, however, have this safety car on lap 14 of 33, so coming up to nearly to half race distance, and it is Rageman from Vitinho from Paul McGuinness. Paul McGuinness, your net race leader. Rageman, Vitinho, of course, on the Joker.
Vitinho, your net race leader.
So yeah, so he is actually your net race leader. However,
if he watches this back, and we're just talking about Matt making legit pit stops, he's just gonna slap himself in the face like, shit, I didn't know I could do that. Clearly, someone didn't read the rule books.
Yeah, well, unless he's planning on going to mediums later on the race, he's kind of betting on another safety car, because I mean, now we've lost Kai, that chance has dramatically fallen, but there's a chance of another safety car. We've not actually seen anyone bin it going up the hill on the right-hander, which has kind of been a hotspot for quite a few years.
It's that yellow curb.
Yeah,
on the wrong side of it.
Especially because I keep on noticing people are really running the curbs on some of these apexes, and this is very much a game where running curbs is not particularly car friendly. As Paul McGuinness, we've got Paul McGuinness, Thomas Nevitt, and Scott Hayes, your only drivers with time penalties. Drive-through, of course, for Scott Hayes can only serve that once the safety car has come in. I'm not sure on the rule. I don't think you can follow the safety car in to serve it. As Vitinho making his stop now, so maybe he is listening to you, Yori.
Or that depends. Or maybe he is now thinking this is the lap on which the softs will make. I've done my practice. I know they'll make these amount of laps. And
absolutely.
Now I can go
what I would also
tires.
do is I would wait until the entire field bunched up, and then I'd cycle myself to the back rather than filtering into, say, 10th or 11th position, what he would have done once the safety car come out. But he's on to the set of mediums, so he clearly thinks that mediums can go to the end from here. He's got to do 18 laps on them, so 2 less than what Matt Lester needs to do, and well, that's once again going to be a struggle. Still, medium 16 laps ish I think you'll find before they really start to die. But Victor now, well, he's already cycled to the back of the pack, but he's now got to stare at 15 cars in front of him if he wants to make this Joker work and get to the flag. As I believe that that Scott tried to serve his drive-through penalty. He's gone onto a set of hard tyres, so he's going to go to the end, but he's still going to have to serve a drive-through penalty once the safety car comes in.
And he needs to make another pit stop, so his race, unless there's another safety car after his drive-through, is pretty much over. Where are you going, Shep? That's not the racetrack. We're under safety car, mate.
I mean, this is Kia. He could quite literally think that was the racetrack. Genuinely, it surprised me that no one has tried to take the final chicane.
I have higher standards of an MI6 agent.
I like the fact that he just didn't get it. The entire season he just did not get it. But never mind. Robin Border, with a man that's already been through the gravel, you can see the state of that car. He's hit the wall. What can he do on this restart? He's got Paul McGuinness behind him, who is now the net race leader. Wace on the mediums behind, so we'll go back to the tyres so you can see what everyone's tyres are on. Robin, he's got, of course, got to wait for the DRS line to go. Any time from when you see the Aramco board and we go past the DRS line, any time from now, and off we go. It's a good restart from the German. And then we've got the Scotsman in P2, who's already being shaped up by Wace, and Wace is on the button. He's going to try and go around the outside, and if he cuts in, that's going to be contact, and it's going to spin one of them. We'll see which one it's going to be, because around the outside and into the car. It's a little bit heavy-handed. Get your elbows out, Mr. McGuinness, and shepherd him to the runoff area, as Wace is once again going to try and throw it down the inside. No room at the inn for him to do so, as Harry Collier's got past Jess for P9, down a couple of positions, and equally Quinn has boozed up past Thomas Nevitt. So Quinn down after making that stop for a new front wing as well. So Jacko back up to P4. No one's really noticed Jacko, who kind of just had a bit of a nothing race after starting in pole position, but back up as Wace is going to try and make a stupid move, and luckily I think Paul McGuinness, who's actually going to take a warning for that, I'd imagine, is saw it coming, but Wace now sends it down the inside. He's trying to force this overtake a little bit too early, because what he's done there is lost a position, or he's possibly lost the position to Jacko, who should have a little bit of a traction advantage going up the hill around the outside, as Jacko needs to keep his foot in here, and he could sweep around the outside, but Wace is going to force him out there, and Jacko has to get out the throttle, because Wace is going to do that thing where he drives around the circuit, and Jacko now sits in the tyre tracks of Wace and will be able to use a little bit of battery. Does he go on the attack? He is on the button, so using a little bit of push to pass here. Not quite close enough to make a lunge down the inside on the net race leader, Robin Border, who's broken away by 2 seconds. So it's a really good restart here from Robin on 15 lap old soft tyres.
There we go, nearly an Hamilton Rosberg collision there, but Waze apparently thought the better of it and didn't shut the door. Rosberg, Tico. Anyway, here we go. Interesting racing here by
super clean.
Waze, but yeah, no, that's the JACKOCAR Kia Series standards. If you want to see some questionable racing, stay tuned. There's plenty more to come. Whilst you were checking in with that, I had a look at Vitinho, who is absolutely not hanging about and wants to make the most of those tires as soon as possible. Already gaining 3 positions as he goes since the restart.
Jacko is trying the under and over at every single corner here. He's quicker than Wace. Wace, after kind of body checking his way past Paul McGuinness, and Paul McGuinness, who's actually come in and made a stop, so he's down in 16th position. But Jacko now under attack from Matt Shepherd. Where on earth have you come from? As Matt Shepherd now gets up past him and into P3. So the man on the soft rubber is now up into P3. Jacko's going to have to try and sweep back round, but he's not going to get that one done there. Matt Shepherd now up into P3 on circuit. And, well, a nice recovery from the driver that's perhaps got a little bit to prove so far this season, but what they have done with this little bit of fighting is allowed Wace to break away now. 7/10 of a second was the gap. Quinn now up to P5 as well, so even after that front wing change, he's managed to filter his way back up into the fight for the lead. Bazza holding firm in P6. Then we've got Dustin in P7, Rico P8, Lesty P9, and Vitinho, as you say, making moves on those new tyres, P10.
It's Harry in 11th, followed by Jess, who on her old tires is not doing too bad. It is Michael behind there, who, if I'm not mistaken, just had a little off.
That's a big off for Matt Shepherd, who's had a huge snap of oversteering. That's a crash and a retirement and a safety car for Dustin Rolko in his debut.
Virtual safety car. Pit, boys, pit and girls.
Safety car out, surely. I see it coming out the pit lane. It tells us it's a VSC again, but I see it coming out. It's definitely.
And now it's a safety car. Oh, does this mean Waze gets the jump on Scott or Dustin? No, Scott. Scott.
I don't get why he doesn't get this. How can you not get this?
So everyone's being led by the safety car now.
Right. Oh, there's another one.
Quinn, Shep, Jess, and Paul decided to all two. Bro,
has he even served the original one?
Yes, he has. I watched him do that. Now he's got to serve another 2, which is great.
Oh, please slow down.
You're doing great, honey. You're doing great. Welcome to Kia Series. Welcome to Formula 1 racing.
Gunning it as well. He's not slowing down.
No, but they're behind. No, they're not even behind the safety car because they're all past it. So they should be on a delta again. Scott, do you even know what a delta is?
Oh, my word. Here we go.
This is just Jacko's and his chaos at finest. He just says, come on in, boys, let's have a little race. And he tells them absolutely nothing. And then afterwards, because they're like work buddies or something, I don't know. And then afterwards, they're like, ha, got you there, mate. Yeah, nah. One of them is fuming. You should have told me more. The other one said, this is funny, right?
I reckon we've actually going to find out halfway through the season, but that's actually Jacko in... surely Jacko in Scott's car and Scott in Jacko's car, because there's no way Jacko's this quick, and
you're right.
There's no way that the Scott is that stupid to speed twice under the safety car in a matter of just mere seconds. But Jacko leading, Bazza second, Leslie third, Vitinho Newgarden, safety car out on lap 20. Don't worry, it's another safety car on a track that you shouldn't get too many safety cars. So we're setting off exactly how we left off at the end of last season. Newgarden P5 on those hard tyres. That's not looking too much of a bad decision now, is it, Yuri? With a P5?
No, but then again, if you're looking ahead of you and you see your 2 rivals also on a Joker strategy straight directly ahead of in front of you on a set softer, you're really praying that there is a massive drop-off at the end.
Yes. Yeah, which it will come back to him, but he's just going to have to work those tyres. And Matt prides himself on, or that Matt Roseman that is, prides himself on looking after his tyres. I think you'll find that what it's called is not pressing the accelerator. But lap 20 of 33. Welcome to everyone that's watching along. Hopefully you're enjoying yourselves wherever you're watching from, however you're watching, if you're racing, you're listening on the commentary. I don't know how on earth people do that, or if of course you're just enjoying the stream. Make sure you do the shill stuff that you do on YouTube. Like the stream, does help us out. Of course, it gives Yuri and I an ego boost to the fact that we've got likes on that video, and subscribe to JACKOCAR for more absolutely bonkers content over the next sort of 3 months or so between the Kia and the Cup Series. And well, we've got Shep on the soft tyres now. It was actually Shep that had a massive snap of oversteer, went off, hit the wall, came back on, and I wasn't sure if it was, it may have been Rico got out of the throttle to miss him, and unfortunately Dustin did not see that the throttle was being lifted and went straight into the back. So someone is going to have pretty severe rear wing damage or diffuser damage, because it was a pretty hefty hit, took off the front right tyre of Fozzie Bear, and brought us down to 16 runners left in this race, with a pretty open end when it comes to strategy, because some cars still, I'm pretty sure, still yet to do a mandatory. I don't think.
I try to keep hold of it a little bit. All I know is that
good luck.
Dustin for sure, Scott for sure has to make one more mandatory stop. And other than that, I am pretty sure everybody's done. But then again, Scott can't do his stops. Well, he can actually, if he wants to pit now, he could technically pit. And then get it out of the way. If I know that his safety car stopped right. And then he just serves his drive-through after, but not going to matter anyway, because the safety car is going to be in this lap, and you can't follow it in, because then it will be a non-mandatory.
True. As safety car in, lap 21 will become 22 of 33, so we're 2/3 of the way through the race at the end of this lap. Paul McGuinness is one of those that listens into the commentary as the race is going on. He actually typed in hi, as you've got some overtaking to do, Sundown, from 15th position. One fighting for the race win earlier on. Let's see what you got, as Jacko's going to lead us away. Bazza and Lesty. Now, we know that Bazza can get his elbows out for sure. We saw him do it last season in the Cup Series, and we've seen him do it over in VSL quite frequently as well.
On many occasions.
Yes, so he's not going to make it easy for Jacko. He's waiting. Jack can go any time from now, and it's a good restart from Jacko. Just about managed to stretch out a bit of a lead. It's in fact Lesty that is starting to look at the guys behind, because Vitinho, Matt Rosemond, who has got down the inside, possibly Robin Border thinking about it, not quite close enough. Thomas Nevitt equally sitting there with 3-second time penalties. It's got Quinn for company, as Jacko is still holding on to the lead as the pair are getting closer and closer and closer. As down the inside goes Lesty on Bazza. He's going to make that the outside. Does he get the move done? He's going to have to sweep around. Bazza's going to surely throw it down the inside. There's a little bit of trading paint on the exit. That's going to allow Jacko to stretch the lead a little bit as they go up towards the uphill left-hander. Get off that grass. That's not going to be your friend as they go up the hill. Does everyone make it up on this first time after the safety car? It looks as though everyone is so far up there cleanly. I'm holding my breath, of course. Jacko with a 7/10 of a second lead over Bazza Lesty. Vitinho Quinn has got up into P5 and is now sitting on the back of Victor Souza. And Danny needs to get some moves done. Around the outside goes Wace on Rageman. He's going to try and get that one done. If I'm Rageman, I'm doing exactly what Wace would do, and just shepherding him to the exit of the corner on the outside and telling him to try again. As OKK picks up a 3-second time penalty, and pardon me for saying I barely even noticed OKK in this race down in P10.
No. Well, you might not have noticed it. I noticed him, because he just made a great move on Jess, and afterwards he fought back. He went around the outside of her on turn 3, and then they had a side-by-side battle for the next 3, 4, 5 corners or so. It's just a shame that after all that beautiful work, he just ends up with a penalty.
Oh, as that is a little bit of a shoulder tackle there from Quinn, I believe it was, as he was trying to get past some of the cars in front. He's desperately trying to hold on to this lead battle. Jacko now sitting there with 0.6 of a second lead. Mazza with a time penalty. Victor Souza, of course, on the Joker strategy. but coming under attack now as we see down the inside. Deep lunge there from Quinn, who hip checks Rageman out of the way, and Waste gets past as well. Does Rageman try and stick the inside and drive to the outside? He does, and Waste isn't going to get this one just yet. He's going to think about going to the inside. That would be an absolutely suicidal attempt because it's full speed around that final corner. DRS is now enabled, and we're going to get some overtakes in the next lap or so, as we've now got a move for Bazza and Vitinho. So Vitinho now up past Bazza as Jacko is into the box and making his stop.
Oh, that's a crash. That is some pile up at the exit of turn 2. Paul McGuinness was spun on the exit of turn 1, and then whatever happened afterwards just caused OKK and Matt Shep to be collided. That's a shame. You know, you guys spend those British pounds on those spies to be really good drivers, and they just end up hitting other people. Waste of money.
True. As as Paul McGuinness, he's got a rear puncture. I was wondering why he was in the gravel. He has got a rear. Is that a rear left puncture? It is a rear left puncture, and he will be trundling his way back to.
He has no puncture.
Oh, it looked like he. Or maybe it's just the graphic was. Oh no, he doesn't. Yeah, it did look like
front wing damage.
Yeah, so
I hope it is just front wing damage for him.
It did look like he. The tyre was obviously all the gravel. Did look it was a little bit punctury, but no safety car just yet. Into the box comes Bazza. Rageman and Vitinho fighting their way over position. Quinn is there as well. That's going to be contact, and that is just about position held there for Quinn, who's up past the pair of them. Quinn's out of battery, Rageman's out of battery. Vitinho is
38, 40%.
Yeah, still got some to go.
Well, looking really well.
Yeah, so he is looking after it. Waste, however, he's the unknown quantity because we know just how these guys have been racing each other. It's let's call it ring rust with some of this racing and some of this overtaking. JACKOCAR racing. I think you find that they're taking the NASCAR element to the limit tonight. As Ben Shaw is watching along, kind of with his biting his fingernails that he doesn't have to do anything that keeps him busy tonight. As Waste thought about going down the inside, but Vitinho then pinged back in front of him as he has to get out the throttle. And this is difficult to race against if you're Waste, as the car in front seemingly moving over the track. You don't know where to put the car, you don't know where to make an overtake. Quinn is now leading by 8 tenths of a second and puts in the fastest lap of the race. So Danny, with a good restart, Quinn is leading away from Rageman, and now Waste up into P3. Vitinho knocked into P4, of course, on his Joker, but having to nurse these tyres to the end. Matt Lester has got Newgarden, who's dropped down to P6, but 1.6 seconds behind, so he's outside of DRS. So Matt Roseman with some work to do. He needs to get back within that 1 second window. Rageman still staying with Quinn, though.
Yeah, and it's this Vitinho who is falling off, and I bet by now he wishes he might have had those hards on, because, you know, still a couple of laps to go before the race finishes, and he's fallen out of the DRS window at this moment. It is indeed, by the looks of it, between Quinn and Rageman for the win as it stands now. And, who you got your money on? Because my money is on Quinn. He might tell everybody and all day, every day, all day, every time that he comes around that he's not going to win it and he's not good, but he is looking strong.
Yeah, I mean, Quinn is the favourite for this season. He plays the game probably more than anyone here. He's been banging on the door. There's only so many times you can bottle a Championship 5, and whilst they're very funny to watch, he is definitely leading this one and should, in theory, be able to hold off Robin. But Robin's not giving up here. He's 0.3 of a second behind Quinn. Quinn is, lacking quite a severe amount of battery here, because even Robin's managed to recover enough to where he wasn't in depleted. But you can tell there that Quinn is using to defend. So if there was ever an argument for push to pass, this was it. When you're using it to attack and using it to defend rather than DRS moves. But Quinn using the uphill section to try and break off a little bit, but Robin's going to sit. He's going to get DRS, but of course you don't really want to make a move into this corner coming up, because of course then they will just get you back down the main straight. But Robin playing a safe game here. Just look after that battery, deploy it a little bit later on. There's still plenty of laps left to go. Still 5 laps left in this race, as he's going to run out a little bit wide there. That's probably a warning, so he's going to have to watch out for that. Behind, we've got Rico closing in on Jess, 0.8 of a second behind.
Rico nearly added some more rim wing to his collection by rear-ending Jess. Almost. He just as he noticed that he was going to hit her, he turned away from the corner and missed her by just like a couple of inches, I guess. Time to catch some fish, boys. Like, go fishing, catch fish, not rear wings.
Well, is he now going to come under attack from Harry Collier? Harry Collier, who is going to surely send it on the inside. Oh, yep, wuss.
Oh, you were going to say something naughty.
I was. As
better for the lead.
as
Quinn defends from Rageman into turn 5, and he holds on to the lead for now.
I wonder if, because Quinn and Rageman have been trading paint in their battle so far tonight, and I wonder if Rageman is thinking, I'll get you back for the little bit of a hip check that he took earlier on when Quinn got the position. Will he wait? Of course, 0.4 of a second is the gap. Lap 28 about to become 29 of 33. And, well, Paul McGuinness, unfortunately, he has not gone his way in this one. Down in 13th position, the man that started towards the front, involved in the lead battle. Likes of Jacko as well. Where has that race all fallen apart? 10th position for your pole sitter. Well, give that man a tissue after this race. He's going to need it. As Quinn now still holding on to the race lead ahead of run border. Wace 2.3 seconds back now. So not quite sure what's happened to Wace here, whether he's picked up some sort of damage somewhere, but he's seemingly not making any inroads. And equally Vitinho as well, who's having to nurse these medium tyres to the end. Matt Lester the same, 16 laps on those mediums. They are going to be feeling very, very used by now.
Yep, and we can clearly see that strategies are being played right now. Quinn is using nearly all of his ERS to stay ahead of Robin, who has nearly 3 times the amount of ERS. As we head into the next ERS zone, he opted to not use it and just purely on the power of the ERS stay close to him and try and save some up. This is smart because as soon as they start fighting and go side by side through many corners, Waze will be on the back of them really quick.
We're about to go on to lap 30 of 33, the JACKOCAR Kia Series Race 1, first of the season, first of many of what is shaping up to be a fantastic calendar. Over to Miami next week for our first trip to North America. First of 2 this season. No Canada, no Mexico, and just Miami and Las Vegas. We've got, of course, a calendar that is seeing us span across a number of regions around the world. Barcelona, Miami, Budapest, Qatar, Abu Dhabi, and then we've got the Netherlands, Saudi Arabia, Portugal, Singapore, Monaco, Las Vegas, of course, in the United States, Azerbaijan, and finishing off with a Championship 5 in Spa, which could be all sorts of tasty, Yuri.
Absolutely, but the best kind of tasty is the way that Spa was chosen to be the C5 race, the championship race. Not because we wanted it there, just, you chose a track, I chose a track, and we played rock, paper, scissors.
We did.
That's how professional we are.
An intense game of rock, paper, scissors where Yuri came from 2-0 down to win. It was Spa versus Monza, and Spa won it at the death. As Rico now sitting behind Harry Collier trying to get the move done. Lap 31 of 33. Not much time left to get to positions. The field is starting to spread a little bit as Rico gets out on the marbles and has to get off the throttle. He's going to have DRS though. He's going to use a little bit of battery. Will he get the position here as we've still got the battle for the lead going on, but down the inside goes Rico. He retakes P9 from Harry Collier as Rageman now 0.5 of a second behind. What is he doing on battery? He's got a healthy amount there. Yes, that's a healthy amount. 36% versus Quinn's 13%. So he is playing the smart game here. Does he wait until the last lap and dump it all? You can see Quinn, that red LED light flashing on the rear of the car. That means the car is under 10% battery use, and it will not be deploying for the rest of the lap. So it actually harms the car once you get into that 10%. Once you start using it, the engine revs kind of don't, or they work against each other, and it actually slows the car up through acceleration points. So you can see Robin staying off the button. He's saving and saving. He's going to sit in the tracks of Quinn. He's using DRS, and he's closing up and closing up. He's just going to let Quinn abuse and lose that battery, and surely he's going to think about a last lap overtake. Is it enough to dump on that last lap, as they'll be coming round to in around about a minute's time? And well, Quinn took a win on the final lap of last season, taking Matt Shepard in China. Will he lose one this time around? Will he open his season with heartbreak to Rageman, who's having one of his strongest races in Kia?
This is a very impressive drive from Robin indeed, and if I'm not mistaken, he's German. That would make a all-out German win in the 2 times we've been here, and I don't mind that, to be fair. It'd be a great step.
Absolutely, as long as it's not Dutch.
Oh wow! Well, aren't you happy I'm here?
Yes.
Rude.
On to the last lap there, about to start. I just can't listen to that Dutch national anthem again. I get a nervous tick every time I hear it. It's quite a gap here. I'd say that Robin, he needed to be maybe 0.2 of a second closer.
He was around this space. Here he goes. He's going to burn everything. You might be right. It might be a bit too much.
I think he's going to have to absolutely send it here. Quinn's going to defend the inside. This is going to be all or nothing. Around the outside, he's gone deep, and that might be that.
All that lining up to do, and then
he needed to cut back. As soon as Quinn defended, he needed to then throw it down the inside. Yeah. And so, but he's down to 13%.
Just bump him out of the way, man.
Well, that's the thing. That's the rule. Is you're allowed a little bit of bump and run on the last lap here. It is allowed. So. There is nothing in the rules to suggest that Robin can't get his elbows out a little bit. Or gets all squirrely on the exit of turn 7. He manages to keep it in a straight line, but surely Quinn has got him here, even with DRS, using batteries, not close enough. They're actually coming up to close in on Scott Hayes. Scott, who's just about going to stay on the line. Oh, there we go. There is the mistake. Getting on the power a little bit too early. Rageman just gets it wrong, and he's going to lose himself a potential race win. But Quinn is going to open the season with a victory here in Spain and takes himself straight to the playoffs.
He might be teamless. He's not winless. That's a nice win from the guy who is absolutely not going to walk away with this, may I add. He's mentioned that like 25,000 times at least in the off-season.
Rageman P2, Wace P3, I'm sure he'll be pretty disappointed with that finishing out of P3. Vitinho on his Joker, starting from the back of the grid up to P4, that's not the worst result. 19 laps, Lesty as well, P5, 21 laps on the mediums. Even Matt Rosemond on tyres that were much nicer, he couldn't read him in, 1.8 seconds behind. Jacko, where did it all go wrong, Mr. Ricketts? P7 for the man that started in pole position. Rico P8, Jess P9, Harry Collier rounds out the top 10. Bazza, Thomas Nevitt, and then we're yet to see Paul McGuinness. And there we go, Paul McGuinness up to the line. He is going to bemoan a bit of a shocker tonight after a couple of incidents that perhaps were not his fault that he got caught up in. And Scott Hayes, who's having his own separate slides. He's just about going to keep this one on circuit to come home and pick up a handful of championship points going in to next week at Miami. And, well, we thought we had enough incidents tonight. We have enough safety cars in the circuit that doesn't have walls directly on the outside of the circuit. Next week, we go to a street track.
Yeah, and you say a handful of points, but if I look correctly, those tyres were fitted 20 laps ago, which is still in stage 2. So that's going to be a disqualification if I'm not mistaken. Unfortunately. That's very unlucky. That's just Jacko, He should have explained it a bit more to his buddies.
To Scott's discredit, he did say literally about 20 minutes before the race started, I haven't read the rules. So when you join a league that is quite intense in having very different rules to most other leagues, that's probably not the best way to start your career here. You need to know what you can do and what you can't do. One person that did know what he was doing was Danny Quinn. He is your race winner tonight, ahead of Robin Bordeaux, who pushed him all the way until 3 corners from the end, where he got it wrong, and held on to P2. Ways in P3. Then we've got Victor Souza, Matt Lester, or your top 5. Matt Rosemond. Jacko is in P7, Rico Beckenkamp P8, Jess Bull P9, Harry Collier P10, Barry Baldwin 11th, Thomas Nevitt in 12th, Paul McGuinness and Scott Hayes are your finishers. Fastest lap goes to Bazza, 14.480. And of course, non-finishers Matt Shepherd, Michael O'Keke, Dustin Rocco, and Kai Langston, who left us earlier on in the evening. Out of 10, what are we giving that one?
This was saved by the strategy, I think, of the last stint there by Robin and Quinn. But I'll give that a 7.
Yeah, I think a solid.
Also, not as many safety cars as I thought it would be.
3 safety cars.
Yeah. 3, 2.
Pretty average, I think. Average for Kia. It could be worse. We could be up at 5 or 6, like we were in Singapore. But yes, that is us for this evening. Congratulations to Danny Quinn. He punches his ticket straight to the playoffs. He could take the next 7 weeks off if he wanted, and he wouldn't have to worry about it. But of course, he'll be back to try and pick up some more playoff points in the coming weeks. We head to Miami next week for the first of our 2 visits to North America. And will we see a couple more jokers? I think we've got at least one over in Miami.
We have indeed, if I'm not mistaken. That is the league admin, the tier admin, Michael O'Keke.
Oh. Let's hope that Mr. O'Keke can keep this one out of the walls and hopefully take home a race win. We're all here. We're all desperately wanting it to happen. It almost happened in Cup in Silverstone a few seasons ago, and we all want to see O'Keke back on the top step. One of the nicest guys you'll meet anywhere in esports. And Yuri, thank you very much for joining me. Congratulations on your first co-coms. How do you think it went?
It's just Kia Series, so it doesn't really matter how it went, right?
Good point. That is a good point. No one cares, especially not us. You will get the barest minimum from Yuri and I this season, and you will sit there and enjoy it because apparently you all like pain and you all like listening to people be rude about you. Which says a lot about you and not so much about us. We're just providing for the audience. But next week Miami. Join us on Thursday for the Cup Series. Of course, the top tier here in JACKOCAR, where the guys will be heading, including ourselves, to Silverstone, where yours truly will be taking the only joker you should be taking. Be joining myself. The likes of Jamie Numbers, I believe, is on the Joker as well. And a few other drivers will be testing themselves out.
I've listened to you.
Go on.
I've listened to you. You said
did you do it?
in your podcast? Yeah, you said in your podcast that Silverstone was the only joke you should take. And I was well, if this guy is the fastest guy in Team Speed, I better fucking listen to him.
True. And there you go. So people listening to me, which is something that you should all do. And of course, if you haven't, go back and check out the Jacko cast with myself in it, because there are some really insightful comments in there. Really fun podcast. Yuri's done one as well. You can find one with Corey, and there will be hopefully a return to the Jacko cast coming soon when Mr. Ricketts pulls his finger out his ass and gets them done. But do join us on Thursday, where Jacko will be in the box, possibly with Danny Quinn, possibly with Barry Baldwin. I'm not sure which one it is. Depends on who wants to reserve in the race. But if not, join us next Tuesday, for the second round of the Kia Series. Good night.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna sit that one out. I've got some PTSD from that track.